Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a very late Day 4 recap of the 2025 USA Track and Field Championships. It was a good one Sunday up in Eugene. Delay on the video because Sunday night was a little crazy with the meet wrapping up and all. And then yesterday, driving back to the Bay all day. Today has been working on some other stuff, but we're recapping right now. It's Tuesday night. We've got a lovely view behind me. This is my grand finale view for my summer from filming in the Bay Area, because Thursday, Audrey and I are starting our cross-country trip to Gainesville, where Audrey will be joining me at the University of Florida Go Gators next year for her grad school program. Very, very exciting stuff. The coverage is just going to be insane for Tom Jones and Florida Relays next year. She'll be working with a Gators Creative, which is the creative media department for the Florida Gators, which is very exciting stuff. It's going to be a long drive. We're planning it out for 5 days right now, which means This Week in Throws will probably be filmed in the car. Don't know when that's going to come out, as more of a wrap-up of some other national championships, because there were some huge results all across the world this week that I can't wait to talk about. But right now, we're sticking with Day 4 at USA's, which was women's disc, men's shot. Women's disc, an absolute banger. Val Allman, 7 straight national titles, 27 straight meet victories. She throws 71.45 here. It's a little windy up here. Not quite Ramona levels of bad, but sound quality might be taking a bit of a hit this episode. But I think it's worth it for this very cloudy, kind of hazy view. It looks a lot better in person. Let's talk about Val, though. 71.45, which is the second or third best mark of her career, 1 centimeter off of her non-Ramona PB when she threw 71.46. I think that was at Triton around San Diego in 2021 or 2022. She threw 71.46 there, 71.45 here. And her and Zeb, kind of categorize her PBs. So I didn't get a chance to talk to Val in the mix zone, which was maybe the most heartbreaking moment of the whole week. But I believe this would go down as a new stadium PB, which was 71.16, which she threw in Berlin, I think at the end of 2023 in her revenge tour after Worlds. But I mean, this is a huge mark. She's just cementing that it's a similar situation to 2022 and 2023, where she's heading to Worlds as the heavy favorite. But obviously this is a completely new level of dominance from her that we've never seen to this point in her career. I mean, 27 straight. She hasn't lost in almost 2 full years now. By the time she gets to Tokyo, I assume it will be she hasn't lost in 25 months at that point, which is crazy. And this is the best, deepest American women's discus field ever. And she won by 6.5 meters. And she had the 6 best throws of the competition, 6 legal throws. I think her worst one was her opener at 67.66 or something. But then she went 69 high. I think the 71.45 was in round 3. And then she had another, a 70.20 in there. And I think a 68 and maybe another 69. It's just a Val type series. And I mean, she crushes in Hayward, more than any other place in the world. I think 4 of her last 5 competitions there now, if you include qualifying and the final at trials last year as one competition. 4 of her last 5, she's gone over 70 in Hayward, which is a crazy thing to think about. Val is she's just so good. And gosh, I wish I would have been able to talk to her. Someone commented on my interview compilation, which I'll link here, and they were like, have you ever heard of Valerie Allman? I've heard she's not insignificant in the world of discus throwing. And I'm like, man, if I could have interviewed her, I would have interviewed her. I believe Jason Kuhn with Throws University was able to interview her, though, and I think Dan McQuaid got her, so check out MC Throws on Instagram for that. But yeah, Val was definitely talking just not to me, unfortunately. But yeah, crazy competition from Val. Just, I don't even know if it's cementing what we've already known about her, because this is like next level stuff, even from what she's been doing this year, which has obviously been historic. But yeah, she's so freaking good, man. It's not fair. Loggy finished second, and I said for Loggy, my goal or my hope for her in this one was that she wouldn't need the bye. It's nice to have, she wouldn't need it. She throws 64-86 and finishes second. She didn't need the bye. The series wasn't exactly what she was hoping for, because she's been preaching consistency all year long, especially in the face of the foul issues from last year. And she had 2 legal throws, 4 fouls. But she was able to come into this one with a little bit of freedom, kind of approach the series the way she would hope to approach Worlds. And so it was a good rep for her. And even when she didn't have her best stuff, she still produced a shade under 65. So that's very good to see. Very exciting for Loggy. This battle for third and fourth, round 6 on day 4 was just like injected into my veins for the rest of my life, please. In this competition and in men's shot. It was a really slow, aside from Loggy and Val, it was a really slow first 5 rounds of women's disc. Through going into round 6, Veronica Fraley was in third at 60-31, and then 3rd through 8th were separated by like 1.5 meters. And I'm watching this and I'm like, this field is too good to let 60-31 make it on the team. No offense to Veronica. I think Veronica would probably say the same thing. But I was like, this field is too good to let a mark like that finish top 4 even. And they must have heard me. I don't have the results in front of me, so I forget exactly what the order was, but I think Gabby Jacobs was up first, and she went 63-33 in her 6th round and moved up from 7th to 3rd, just behind Loggy. And Gabby is someone who took 2 years off of the sport. And I talked to her a little bit after, and she basically said she got in the sport because of one conversation with her friend and one conversation with her dad. Going into 2024, she was like, do I still have it? And clearly she still has it. She makes her first national team now, just continuing this crazy breakout season she's had. Going over 68 meters in Kansas, over 65 once, over 64 another time, and now 63-33 here. Ice water, punches her ticket to Tokyo. Incredible stuff. You absolutely love to see it. And unfortunately, I had to cut my interview with her a little bit short because I had to do my actual job of interviewing 800 runners for Sidious. But the like 2.5 minutes I had with her, I think, were some really good stuff and some good insight on one of the bigger surprises of the year so far. So definitely go listen to that when you get a chance. I will link the compilation from day 4 in the description as always. And then Shelby Frank. She sees what Marcus did yesterday, and she's like, I'm not going to let that guy have all the fun and go to Tokyo without me. I think she was in 5th. So she wasn't in as bad of a spot as Gabby was, but she hadn't broken 60 yet on the day, which is something she's been doing very consistently this year, at least the last couple meets. And she goes 61-11 on her 6th round throw, jumps Veronica. Veronica can't answer. Shelby Frank is headed to Tokyo as part of Team USA. This is someone who last year, while competing for Minnesota, made the finals at trials in both the hammer and the disc. This year, she locked in on the disc after the collegiate season ended. She did, very importantly, she specified her hammer career is not over. There's a good chance, I think the way she described it is, there's a good chance she'll get the itch next spring and start training it again. So for someone who threw 71 meters a month and a half ago, her hammer career is not over, which is exciting to hear. But she dialed it on disc for this one, and she made it pay off, 61-11. It's still not what she's capable of. Like, we saw her throw 63 at NCAAs, and then 62 high, I think, is what she threw in LA last month. So we know she's capable of bigger things, but on a day where it wasn't a lot of women didn't have their best stuff, she came through when it mattered, and it's exciting to see. And we've got a very exciting, I'm super pumped about this team we're sending. Heart breaks for Veronica, who was in such a good spot to make her 4th straight team, but just came up a little bit short. But the team we've got, obviously you have Val, who is far and away the gold medal favorite. You've got Loggy, who's the defending world champion. And then you've got 2 more throwers making their national debuts. One in Shelby, who is young and super hungry. And then Gabby, who she took 2 years off from the sport and comes back better than ever. Like, that is a story you just cannot help but rooting for. And it's a damn good team. I mean, you've got 3 women who've thrown 68 this year. That's all I'm going to say. Like, that's crazy. And then Shelby, who's one of the better young talents in the world. So, yeah, I absolutely cannot wait to see what's going to happen in Tokyo when you throw in Yorinda and Sandra and Bin Fang and a lot of the other best women in the world that for some reason I'm drawing a blank on right now, and I'm really embarrassed, but it's been a long day. Yeah, women's disc in Tokyo is going to be really fun, and it would be really cool to see Val win her first world title in the same stadium she won her first Olympic title, because that's just with the way championships usually shake out. That's not something you get a chance to see all that often, but that'd be pretty sweet. And I know it would be a ton of like vindication for her after the way Eugene and Budapest shook out. So she's gonna do it. And I was talking, I don't think it was in the Mix Zone. I think it was on the post meet show with Sidious Sunday night, where I was saying the thing that I think is different for Val this year is over the last 2 years, she's shown that if someone does pull a Bin Fang or a Loggy and have the best day of their lives in Tokyo, she's going to respond. She always has it in her to respond. And coming from behind isn't a position she's been in a lot the last 2 years, but obviously she hasn't lost since Budapest. So anytime she's needed it, she's found it. So I'm super excited for what that could mean for Val headed to Tokyo. Let's move on to men's shot now. Oh boy, this one. Let's cut right to the chase. Joe Kovacs didn't make the team for the first time since 2013. It's been 2.5 days. That still feels weird to say. 2207 didn't make the U.S. team in a year that Ryan Krauser wasn't competing. What? That's if Ryan was here, this could have been only the second meet in world history with 5 men over 22. That's how good this one was. Another one with round 6 bangers. The competition was good. Like, I'd say better than the women's discus competition. Like, Peyton was throwing well at like 2170, 21 high. Tripp had hit some bombs at like 20, 21 8, 21 9 maybe. Joe threw 2207 early. And then I think Roger was in the mix. You had Josh Awotunde was throwing well. So it was a tight competition. You could tell something was there. Like I said, Joe threw 22 in the first couple rounds. But what really sparked it, in round 4, I believe it was, Tripp Pippery goes 22-29. Tacks on another 21 centimeters to his PB. I think he was sitting at 2208 before. No, Roger was at 2208 before pre. Tripp was at 2209. So he tacks 20 centimeters onto his PB, moves into the lead, and Tripp is just ridiculous. Like, his series was so unbelievably good this meet. And he's been so good for the last 2 months. Really the whole season, going back to what he did indoors, winning the national title, bronze at World Indoors, and then the first WSPS meet where he threw 73 feet or whatever it was, which is like 22:30. He's knocking on the door of that in an official competition now, which is really fun to see. But yeah, so Tripp goes into the lead, and then he was sitting pretty for a little bit. But then round 6 strikes. And I believe the first man to draw blood in round 6 was one Mr. Josh Awotunde, 22 Mr. Denny's himself. He goes 22-47 in round 6. His first time over 22 since USA's in 2023, I believe. So 2 years since the last time he broke 22, and he goes 22-47. Tacks on 18 centimeters to his PB, which his PB before was thrown in Eugene. Ooh, we are losing light fast here. I gotta pick things up. His last PB was 22-29 from Eugene at Worlds in 2022, and golly, this was so good to see. I mean, he's been dealing with injuries the last year or two. He lost his funding. There were people like last year telling him to transfer allegiance to Nigeria because it was like, you're not going to make a U.S. team. He proved those suckers wrong. 22-47 is huge in round 6. And like he was having a decent series to that point, but this was a season's best by over a meter. I think he had thrown like 21-70 already in the first few rounds. So like he was in a good spot, but pulling this out for PB for the first time in 3 years, a PB of that size to win the first national title of his career, truly ridiculous stuff. And I'm going to shameless self-promo again. Another really good interview with Josh, like 8 minutes. I'll link, like I said, interview compilation is linked down below. Gotta listen to the whole thing because just getting some insights into what Josh's career has been like since winning that bronze in Eugene, it's impossible to not be a fan of that guy. And he said he's in the best shape of his life. He's in the best headspace of his life, and it's producing these big marks. And okay, spoiler alert for This Week in Throws. Leo did throw 22-82 at Italian Championships. Good for him, la-di frickin' da. But, God, I mean, the podium for Worlds, assuming Ryan's going to be in decent shape. Like, I know he's lifting well. He's been posting a lot of that on Instagram. It's just we have no idea. Okay, well, I think he's not throwing right now, but we have no idea where he'll be able to get to on the technical side. Like, he's going to be super strong, but we don't know exactly what that's going to produce in the ring when we get to Tokyo if he doesn't compete before then, which is still a question mark. Leo's obviously throwing really well. Joe's not in the picture anymore, which is big because he was, after like he was my gold medal favorite. So Joe not being in the picture certainly makes this very interesting. Peyton, all right, we'll skip ahead to Peyton now before we wrap up this conversation. Peyton threw 22-35 in round 6 to move into second, gets him back on the team, and that was what bumped Joe out, I believe. So Peyton now is looking like early 2024 Peyton, where he was throwing 22 threes, 22 fours, 22 fives, basically at will. And I kind of expected this, but when I interviewed him after, like, this is a very deliberate plan on his part to pace his season out better. So he's hitting these bigger throws when it actually matters. And he's not throwing 22-5 at the Drake relays and then throwing 22-03 in Paris. It's so he's throwing, 21-7 or whatever he threw at Drake this year. And then he can throw 22-6 or 22-7 maybe in Tokyo. And I mean, Peyton's performed really well the last couple years. I have a ton of faith in him to get this peak right. And so I'm really excited about Josh. I might be even more excited about where Peyton can go from here. But yeah, Joe Kovacs is not on the team. It's weird. It's the first time since I became a track and field fan, since probably a lot of people became track and field fans, going back 12 years, that Joe Kovacs is not going to be competing for a global title. And I don't think it's necessarily like the end. It is I forget if men's shot is in the Ultimate Championships next year, but it is like worth noting that Joe is, I think, 34 now. And you figure it's now going to be 2 years until we go to the next World Championships. So who knows where Joe is going to be at by then. But I don't even want to think about that right now because I feel like we could have had these conversations early 2023 or last year where he was, or towards the end of last year, like he wasn't looking that good. And he continues to just prove people wrong every single time. So I'm not going to get doom and gloom about Joe Kovacs's future right now. I'm going to be excited about this really freaking good team that we're sending to Worlds, I should say. Josh already has a gold medal, is throwing better than he ever has before. Now we've got to see if he can keep this up and he can make this some sort of consistent thing, which I think he'll be able to. Like PBing after 3 years has got to be good for the mental side of throwing, kind of a little breakthrough for him. So I'm excited to see what comes of that, how he continues to carry this through. Peyton, like I said, I trust the way he's building his season. It's really exciting to see. And this is just proof that what him and his coach are doing is working. And then for Tripp, it's just continuing to build upon this really, really exciting season where obviously he had so much potential that we saw when he was at Texas. And now we're finally seeing that potential fully come to fruition. Maybe not fully yet, because he's still got a lot more in the tank. You can bet on that. I also didn't get to talk to Tripp this weekend, which was pretty disappointing. But that's just the way things go sometimes when you have to do an actual job in the mix zone. Oh, well. But yeah, I'm super excited for this team because you got Josh, who didn't make the team last year, Peyton, Tripp, who hasn't made a team since 2022, and then Peyton's made the last 2 teams. And then you have Ryan Krauser, and who the heck knows what he's going to be like in Tokyo. But, I mean, if we can trust Ryan to be Ryan, he's going to do something ridiculous. We'll speculate more about... We've got like 6 more weeks to speculate about Tokyo, so we'll get to that when we get to it. But this USA's was really, really good. Roger Steen threw really well. I think he ended in 5th at like 21.6. It's a lot of good stuff. U.S. shot, like this competition did not disappoint. This whole meet did not disappoint. Audrey is right there. Does Audrey want to come say anything about USA's to wrap it up? She's walking over. It's really windy here, so she's a little cold. But yeah, USA's was awesome. Do you want to say anything? She's coming.
Paul's been talking about doing the grand finale at this view of our time in the Bay, so I reminded him that he needed to do that tonight. But yeah, USA's was awesome. Yeah, we were talking earlier just about like how that was like the highest caliber meet that either of us had ever like witnessed in person, and we're so like on the come down from that. So, and my highlight on the throw side was definitely the men's shot put on the last day.
Who would you say was the biggest highlight of that?
Tripp Pippery.
Tripp Pippery. We're big Tripp fans over here, which makes me even sadder that I didn't get to interview him. But Tripp, I'll find you in Tokyo. I can promise you that. Yeah, USA's was a good one. I'm incredibly grateful that I was able to have that experience. So thank you, Chris Chavez and Mac Fleet and Sidious Mag. And yeah, it was special. Thanks to all the throwers for taking their time to talk to me. I think we're sitting at about 100 minutes across 22 interviews with throwers from this past week. So that's really exciting stuff. You gotta love the throws. You gotta love USA's. There's some big stuff on deck, so stay tuned for that. And then, like I said, This Week in Throws is going on the road. So I don't know when we'll get that one out, but it'll be at some point. Maybe when we're like halfway through New Mexico or something. We'll see. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching the interviews, staying tuned to these recaps, even when I get them out late. It's been really fun to cover this meet. It's been really fun to see the love for this meet. Audrey's coming back.
I want to say one more thing.
Say one more thing.
So Paul posted a reel today that got several different comments on it, basically hyping him up as he deserves and unbiasedly as his girlfriend, but also it's just really cool to see him starting to get like the widespread recognition of all his work in this area of the sport. And if you're watching this far, you're one of those people. So
Rudy Winkler called me his buddy on Thursday. That might have been the highlight of the whole week. And then on Saturday, Reggie Jagers dapped me up and I almost fell down, which was really embarrassing. But yeah, it was an awesome week. I'm excited for what's next. So stay tuned for that. What's your shirt say, Audrey?
I love track and field.
I love track.
No, it's just field.
I love field. I love the throws. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts now. I finally figured out how to do that. Comment down below with your favorite moment from this past week or favorite interview if you guys listened to all of those, because I think that'd be fun. Yeah, P. Hoff Mahoney on Twitter, Polly Throws on Instagram, and I will see you guys next time.